Hello everybody and welcome back to artofdino.com and saveearth.us. And although I am not necessarily temporarily, I'd say kind of slightly giving up on YouTube a little bit, I decided I would take a look at the stuff that I've already found in the past and was going to make videos about and just maybe bust out a couple quickies over the next couple weeks. I'm working on a book that I'm collaborating with my mother on, and it's really awesome, so stay tuned for that. The art is really great, got some secrets to it, and it's going to be really cool. A good little children's book, which I am giving that a chance, putting in a ton of effort, 25 9x12 drawings, and it's coming out great. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you some pictures of Boston under construction because I don't understand what I'm seeing here. Starting with this one, look at that, old world, boom, and then a bunch of iron frames in the back. So I don't get it, but there's so many things here from around Boston that I collected that I just don't understand. Like that arched viaduct is supposedly a construction. No, that's definitely something old, amazingly old. Why would anyone construct there? How would you get anything there? How would you get workers there? How would you get anything there? I can't almost believe they call that construction. But again, those colors, those sepia tone photos, I have a feeling are much older than expected. This was pretty cool, a little political cartoon. The duty lies near, and it's the new parks are a good thing, but they put them away from the city. It's just weird. There's some kind of clue there. Take a look at that. And then all of these little things. There's a ton of different construction is photos, and those look pretty fresh. But again, could they be old and then just cleaned up, power washed? And again, with this, children standing on scaffold over water. How old are those concrete little slabs there? Again, everything looks really old, but it's also been being torn apart, so you don't really know. Construction site again, or a destruction site. Looks a little bit more like it to me. Construction, destruction, you never know. Men standing in opening of unfinished sewer. I always find the sewers to be very interesting, and if they were made out of bricks like that, then I find that even more insane and interesting because, these things are everywhere, and they can fit people in them, and they're huge, and the amount of brickwork in there is spectacular. And we've been looking at all the buildings and being like, how did they ever do the bricks for that? But look at the bricks that would be needed for this. And again, the bricks that are closer to us in this image look like they're super old, whereas the ones a little later on look like they're a little bit different, but maybe it had wires around them. Who knows? Running water through park, so that partially exposed section, who knows if that's just certain areas where they dumped the mud flood or where whatever happened, and then all of a sudden kind of areas, rivers that were there will pop up, or just kind of everything will fall in, and maybe, then they'll collapse like sinkholes. They're definitely probably also a sign. The Power Brothers sewer siphon, look at that. Look at the brickwork. To the right and left looks super old, and then the bottom chute looks pristine and perfect. And again, that could maybe still be old world if it had water running through it. Clean water running over it would keep things pretty clean. But again, who knows? This looks ridiculous. Water emerging from underbuilding. Look at all those stones, everything. And this is the 1800s. Some of these I think are probably wrong. Again, like I said before, but there is a lot of work going on here. There is an absolute ton of work going on here. And this was happening not in just Boston. This was happening in every city in America and in Europe at the time. So it's almost like the reset happened and then a bunch of freaking construction companies came from beyond the realm or something, or just because things are going everywhere. And again, I'm always torn between, there being like a ton of old world technology, which I know there's a ton of old world stuff under us. And if you're not from around New England, Massachusetts, there is old world stuff everywhere you look. Brockton, you name it, Weymouth, name any town, Taunton, any town/city, Worcester, Boston, all over that. You walk around these places and you can see everywhere you go, tunnels, different things, you see old world things there. And you see old world churches, you see old world buildings, old world stones like this that are super old, and you know that the old world is beautiful and immaculate under us, although it's hidden from sight. But you have to wonder as well about the construction. Some of the things could have been constructed during our time, and then some absolutely could not be. I think that railroad depot is actually pretty cool. And there's another depot like that in Weymouth that's amazing. I'll have to get a picture of that and show you guys because it's right near a stone church. That's also ridiculous with a year 1880 something, and I don't believe it. But again, look at all this work. Look at all this engineering here. And this, again, like, is masterful work. And keep in mind, we always say, like, they can't be done, but they used different power sources that they eventually erased for us. So like steam and things like that. And they also didn't have cell phones. They did, look at the buildings in the background, but they didn't have like anything to well, they did, but they didn't have as much nonsense to distract them. The dog, like the circus, the dog and pony show, the bread and circus crap wasn't really kicked into high gear during this time. I'm sure they had some things, whatever, some opiates for the masses, but nowadays we are smothered in them. Back in the day when you weren't, you could do a lot. You could be productive. You could do things. You could have people that would work on crafts for a very long time, and engineers. And this is the Boston Public Library under construction, and I am very confused about this. If you go into the Boston Library, you see it's amazing. And this, to me, again, looks like a bunch of cheap scaffolding from people who didn't know what they were doing, surrounded by old world amazing stuff. And I suspect that this this library and these photos have undergone some serious old school photoshopping, because I don't know, the year again could have also changed, but it's interesting to see, like, look at all that stone and rubble around, and then they have like a piece there. I'd like to talk to construction managers and be like, what are they doing here? Where are they doing it? How are they doing it? And again, look at the surrounding villages. Look at the place in the background. Every building is huge, and most of those are still there. And if you're familiar with Boston, the buildings are like interconnected buildings that last for streets. So it's one long, narrow building that just pretty much has tons of different houses on it, and they're very long. They can be like a quarter, half a mile long, some of these strips of buildings. And this is, again, the library popping up, and all these different things. That church to the right is amazing. The church behind it is incredible. And that church to the right, recently, the terrible mayor of Boston just botched it entirely and turned it into just a gross thing. But it used to be beautiful. And again, like this, I consider that maybe that's real, and maybe from a different time that they're telling us, or maybe it's some Photoshop action in there with you slice off the top and you put in some construction things, and you can be like, hey, look at how this was built. So you'd have to hear interviews and stuff from people who were around and giving dated first impressions of when that thing was being built, to really find out. This I found interesting too, the Hoosac Tunnel. So they're clearing out tunnels, and there's just tons of waste, and I wonder what they would have found, if they found amazing things as they were doing that, or if that's, again, a ruse for something else. That is an amazing courtyard in the Boston Public Library. It's a beautiful place if you ever get a chance to go see it. It's very grand, and it makes you feel like you are in the old world, which is spectacular. And they put a lot of effort into either faking it or at least showing the construction of it. Again, I'm not sure. I really don't know. But look at these amazing buildings, and then look at the shacks of crap in the front, and all the bills. Look at all the poster bills. I'm pretty impressive how they were able to print a lot of those things in perfect color. And again, I think the printing, the whole history of printing and everything is a complete and utter lie as well. And the subway construction, this is also another part that I found interesting, because they had to dig really deep for this. And how is this done? Like, it all with horse and carriage, digging so deep to make the subway. And the subway is excruciatingly deep in the ground in Boston, and it's all over the city. It's incredibly impressive, and whoever did it during whatever time, kudos to them for any of the subways, to be honest, anywhere in any of these places. And it either takes an incredible amount of work to build and construct all that, or it takes a little bit less work to clean it out. Either way, it's still a lot of effort. And how did they do this to all these different American cities at around the same time? Just constant construction. Were they all coming over from Europe? Were they all coming from beyond the realm and being like, here, if your construction company can come, you can stay, etc.? I don't know. Trying to reverse engineer this history that seems to not make any sense. And there's just rubble everywhere, all different kinds of things, different levels all over the place. Look at this stuff. Absolutely amazing. So I'd love to hear your things over there, and you can see all the power supplies and the telephone poles and all the things, and it's just a collection of mixed imagery, mixing old world things that seem impossible with other things that seem like they're just scraps and like put together by kind of novice humans, whereas some of the old world buildings look like they were put together by master humans. So how is the I know, how is it all justified? I really don't know. But I wanted to show you guys all these photos because I found them interesting, especially if you're from Boston. You never know what you're going to find in any of these old world New England cities, but they go deep and they go super, you never know. Every woods walk I take, I see rocks out of place. I see things. I'm constantly looking for etchings or different kind of things that would maybe get uncovered as time goes on, but have yet to find anything superb. If I do, I will let you know, because I am doing more nature walks, I'm doing more drawing, and a lot more. So I will try to chime in from here and there to keep these videos somewhat relevant, and I hope you all enjoy what happens in the future. Again, the algorithm is the fault. It is not you or any of that. I love you all, and I wish I could reach all of you. Sadly, I can't, but I will try. So have a great one, everybody. Bless you all from artofdino.com and saveearth.us.